of yesteryear. We're on the 5th of Elul. Hey Elul. It marks the Hilula of a really famous Syrian rabbi. His name was Rabbi Shalom Kaski. Zecher Tzadik Libracha, one of the great rabbis during the 19th century, respectively, in Syria. He was born actually back in the year 1802. He passed away in the year 1872, so he was about 70 years of age. I'm not too sure the exact date when he was born, but seemingly he passed away. It was on the, I believe, the 5th of Elul, it is reported over. Now, he came from great rabbinic auspices, the great rabbi. Remember, Syria had a great Jewish community in of its day, and we've spoken about various rabbis from Syria in this series already, which I recommend everyone to look into and watch over. So, in fact, I think we already recorded in the series approximately about maybe very, very decent, possibly as many as 50 Syrian rabbis, which is absolutely phenomenal achievement. And I would recommend everyone to look in. Remember, this month of Elul, actually, there's many great hilulot of many great rabbanim, and from yesteryear. And I'd watch your space at the moment for plenty of fantastic content on the great rabbis. Okay, so he was born. His father's name was Rabbi Shalom Kaski, very great rabbi. Seemingly, he was born in Aleppo in Syria. Remember, Aleppo, I think, also is known in Hebrew as Chalab. Now, he would learn under the auspices of his father at a young age, I think, under Rabbi Shalom Kaski. And I think his father was in a very bad situation from a health point of view, when he was only about, when Rav Shalom was only 7 years of age approximately. This was in the year 1809, and at that point in time they were in Damascus. So then at the end he would actually, I think they would travel together eventually to the land of Israel, and they would actually end up in Tiberias, in the holy city of Tiberias, where I think he would survive a period of time after, if I'm not mistaken. And I think Rav Abraham Hamway, one of the great Syrian rabbis, wrote a Torah book called the Bet El, and would actually encounter over this actual happenings in itself. I'll say what it says on the using the Hayimi website. What it actually says within regards to this episode. It says, B'shanat Tavkuf Samachtet, 1809, Aviv Shaya al Eres David, and I think he was on his the sick bed at that point in time. Hodia lebeno ki ala li shiva shel mala, ach sirev latet nishmato ki im be'eretz Yisrael miyad kam memitatat cholav v'alach le'ir Damasek. Remember, those days it wasn't so easy to travel from one country to another. So the Hamwi family itself was a very famous family in Syria. Respectively, we actually recorded over a few videos on the great rabbis from there. Okay, so it's interesting. Now, Rabbi Shalom Kaski will end up growing up in great Torah and Yirat Shamayim amongst some of the great rabbis, especially of Chalab in his time. I believe this brilliance will actually end up excelling him to a very high level of Torah learning. He'll become a teacher, and I think a dayan, also a judge. He was a rabbi, I think, of the city. I think it was called Ein Tab, if I'm not mistaken, inside the vicinity in of itself. It was a rabbi of the Ein Tab. This was, I think, quite near Aleppo. This specific city was where he would work in Dainut. He would be a judge over there, along with other great rabbis from Aleppo, which we mentioned about before, including, I think, the famous Rabbi Chaim Mordechai Levton, who was Levton, I think, was another rabbinic dynasty from Syria, and Rabbi Shlomo Nechmad. These were great rabbis. I don't know if we mentioned him per se beforehand, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I think it was early on, we have to go back, 1689, the famous Rabbi Chaim Mordechai Levton passed away, and or maybe that was in 1789, maybe it was, I don't know if the dates actually make sense, just reading the Haimi website, but when Rabbi Chaim Mordechai Levton passed away, it was, afterwards, Rabbi Shalom Kaski was elected the chief rabbi of Aleppo, which was a very prominent position. So I have to double check on the exact date when Rabbi Mordechai Levton passed away. He was a great rabbi of his time. We'll just try and find some information with regards to the great rabbi over here. And remember, it's always interesting to hear about the different famous rabbis of yesteryear. So I think actually, yeah. So seemingly, Rabbi Mordechai, there was a Rabbi Mordechai Chaim Levton and Rabbi Mordechai Levton. So seemingly Rabbi Mordechai Levton lived between the years 1780 to 1869. Yeah. So he passed away in 1869. And Rav Kaski will actually pass away, I believe, in the year 1872. So that's interesting. Let's say something with regards to Rav Mordechai Levton. He lived between 1780 to 1869. We're talking about nearly 89 years. He was a famous Payatan. He was a head of Jewish court and the chief rabbi, naturally, of Chalab. I think he was buried actually in Kebab of the Tzadikim in Aleppo, respectively. He wrote various Torah colossal books, including the Koach HaShulchan, which is a Shut, Shelot Shvot, question and answers books, Rabbi Levton did, on the Shulchan Aruch, on the Code of Jewish Law. That was printed just about a year before he passed away. And the Ben Yair, I think another great book, was printed in Jerusalem many years after he passed away, I think in the year 1925. That would have a reprinting in 1991. He was a great rabbi of his time, Rabbi Levton, and I think the Levton family, as we said before, they were family. I think they actually came from Spain originally, and he was close himself to Rabbi Avram and Tebi, I believe. So that's very interesting. He was a chief rabbi of and very well connected with many, many rabbis. That's Rabbi Chaim Mordechai Levton, who we're speaking about, and so he passed away in the year 1869. Now, Rabbi Shalom Kaski will actually take his place afterwards as the chief rabbi of the city. Very, very prominent position over there. There's various different great stories told over about him, such as various different miracles. Apparently, there was one time a miracle that was performed for a poor widow, I think, and I'll state over the story that was actually recounted. It's actually recounted over here on the Haimi website. Ogan Masyot Rabot Mesuparot Odato Shenase Biado Pele LaAlmana Ania Shuhotir Biada Mitpachat Keshura Ba'arba Ketzoteha Vayita Motzia Memena Ma'ot Kokol Shaitat Slicha Lefarnes Yaldeha Vatzil Et Yudia I Machilat To'laim במרור של פסח, או פעם אחת שגנבו חותמות הבשר ההכשר, ומנע אותם, שגילו לו אותיות ביין בכוס הקידוש, וכך הובא בספרו של חכם אברהם בן שלמה סטון, Melella Abraham. So he's stating over here, basically recounting over the various different miracles that actually happened. Apparently, one time with a poor woman with a handkerchief, which was in her hand, was tied to four ends, and from that she would draw as much money as she needed to support her children. Great miracle. Also, he saved apparently the Jews of the city being eaten by worms, I think, from the marrow in Pesach, and I think a story connected to meat also, and various letters connected to wine in the Kiddush cup. And I think actually it was narrated over in a famous book of Rabbi Avram ben Shlomo Seton's book called the Melad LaAbram, if I'm not mistaken. Now, it's interesting. His son, Rabbi Eliyahu David Kaski, was a great rabbi in Egypt. And I think his son-in-law also was Rabbi Hillel David Seton, who was author of a great different Torah book also, which we have to point out. I think, that has to be pointed out. I think he authored the book called Arucha Umirpa'a. This was I think, and Rabbi Shalom Kaski passed away in the year 1872. We're talking about 153 years ago, here on Hey Elul, the 5th of Elul. Now, he left us also with a Torah colossal great work called the Shalom Le'am. This featured various Chidushim novelties and teachings, and which was printed, I think, in the year if I'm not mistaken, 1982. This was way after he passed away in Jerusalem, through Rav Sadia Manir. We haven't really spoken about more. And I think there was a Kefi Aaron from Rav Aaron Azriel. Rav Aaron Azriel is a rabbi we've spoken about before, various occasions before, which was printed in the year 1874, I believe, in Jerusalem. That would have been about 2 years after he passed away. So it was a very great rabbi. Let's explore a few of the highlights from the Shalom La'am book, which was very much his. Melamed, Kol Shruach Habriot Nochai Mino Vadai Da'ato Shebale Alav. This was featured, I think, in the Shalom La'am book, I think in page Kuf Mem Tet, page 149. Another teaching is Melamed Avat Hashem Tulia B'libo She'avin B'ma'asav B'briyoto B'chukmato. This was coming from Shalom La'am. I think it was in the Ma'amar Minyan Lenezer, talking about in page 28 over there. Another teaching from his Torah colossal book Melamed Hakitgalot Lifnei Ketzayamim Shitpatcho Sharei Chochma. This comes very much from page 151, 152 territory in the Shalom La'am book also. Another teaching, this I'm using from the notes of the Haimi website. It says, Melamed Nikrad Mincha She'keneget HaSolet Shechasera Ba'kedah. This comes from also from the book itself, page 145. And the last teaching, Melamed Shemeshera Shechinato Bebeit Midrashot Makom Asaka Torah. And this comes from, I think, the book within regards to the Churban Beit HaMikdash. This is from page 150, once again, in Shalom Le'am book over here. So it was very, very great rabbi of his time. I think we've mentioned him on various occasions before. If you know any more, if you descend from the great Chacham, please let me know. I think some of his teachings actually are very much featured, I think, on the Israel National Library website, and you can also find it in the Israel National Library over there, which I very, very much recommend people to look into. He was a great rabbi of his time, and he was a great Chacham, and much, much more can be said within regards to the great rabbi. Now, friends, we're a community here. We're learning about great rabbis of yesteryear. If you descend from any of the famous rabbis we are speaking about, please send me an email. I would love to hear more information on the great Chachamim. If you feel anyone is interested in watching any of these videos, please share these videos also to other people also to help grow the community. We're going from strength to strength at the moment, which is absolutely phenomenal. And I recommend everyone, you can actually see the preface, I think, to his book. It's featured very much on various parts of the internet. I think also on the Hebrew Books.org website, possibly also the National Library also. And it just states over there about how the book, I believe, was printed in Jerusalem, in the capital city of Israel. So friends, don't forget to subscribe. We're nearing, hopefully we want to reach Rosh Hashanah with 7,500 subscribers, which will be a phenomenal achievement if we can achieve that over there. And we're really going from strength to strength. And wish you all blessings. Take care and join the community. Thanks very much for watching, everyone. Thank you. I appreciate it.